Today I'm gonna tell you about 3D animation, not about what kind of education is required to be an animator. And you have to artistic ability and dedication to learn animation? No. Suppose you have a animation software and you download a 3D character from the website. You wanna create an animation clip with this character. What will you do? Yes, today I'm gonna telling you about animation process 0 to hero. Blender animation toolset. I suggest you to learn first is Blender tool. It's not necessary to learn with character. You can start with simple cube and sphere. Blender recommend you to learn Blender tools on their own YouTube channel. Here are a lot of videos in Blender fundamentals that will really help you to learn Blender tools. Blender has bunch of tools, but first animation toolset is non-linear animation (NLA). Blender offers the non-linear animation editor where you can mix different action to produce new movements. This editor allows a lot of flexibility with the ability of taking simple movement to create a more complex animation. Tasks such as repeating and reversing an animation which demands time and care to do in the drop sheet are very simple to do in the NLA. It can also repurpose, chain together a sequence of motion and layered actions which make it easier to organize and version control your animation. Personally, I suggest you to learn timeline, dropsheet, and graph editor before learning this. The timeline is not much of an editor, but more of an information and control. This timeline gives the user a broad overview of a series animation by showing the current frame. It also includes tools for manipulating keyframes, keying set, and markers. Dropsheet mode allows you to edit multiple actions at once. It's definitely useful, but will only become apparent when you need the functionality and you find limited by timeline keyframes. Graph editor is probably scared things you will see in Blender, but first time you see the animation curves. Graph editor allows us to adjust animation curves. After learning all this, next is motion path. Motion path shows only to the selected object or bone and allows you to visualize the motion of points as paths over a series of frames. Doesn't need to explain here. I create a separate video on motion path. Other extra tools are drivers and shape keys. Drivers are a way to control value of properties by means of a function, mathematical expression, or small script. The most popular use case for shape keys are in character facial expression and in the tweaking and refining a skeleton rig. Shape keys allows you to keep multiple different shapes within a single object in Blender. Learn extra toolset like constant, animation pose mode, inverse kinematics, and so on. After learning all tools of Blender, learn next about animation process. Pre-planning about character. Who are the character? What are their A's? Which character is the main character and what is their ultimate goal? Show the difference between size, shapes, color, voice, big, little, fat, and thin. Decide your timing, your acting, action choices. After pre-planning of character, next is write concept of a story on the paper. What you are going to do next with this character. Beginners dive into the animation with an idea but no real story. While every story start off without everything to understand. Write a script complete with the stage direction, notes on camera and angles, plan every detail. Reference video. All the animation process start from here. Professional animators use some form of reference. Reference video they create self or something they found on YouTube. Most of the people may need reference something and all of us use it pretty regularly. In this the ideas read, the emotional feels real.
We're gonna go good!
You have got a clip of video reference that you like and it's time to get ready to create thumbnail. Apply the principle of animation on it and turn into the something special. When you do some new thumbnail, this time from your video reference, anytime you see a major change in weight or pose, draw a thumbnail of that pose and write down the frame numbers that it happened on. Input a breakdown pose between extreme, draw all of those. Next is blocking. Now it's time to use software and apply all the thumbnail process in timeline or dropsheet where you want because already you have learned software tool. Go to frame 1 and pose your character just like your frame 1 thumbnail and save a key on every possible controller on the character. Set all the keyframe as same as your thumbnail. Apply 12 principle of animation that you needed. After that you will need to exaggerate the timing a bit as well. Spline. It's the process in which you convert the interpolation of the keys from step to spline and that makes the movement look smoother. With the spline blocking mode, you are able to get a feel for how animation is going to be played out every early on the spline stage. For the example, like you have a pose held for 24 frames in step mode in blocking. It works some as, but if you are in spline mode, by the time you get to frame 12, the curves are already halfway to the Next key. Polish animation. Polish is the final step to bringing our character to life in the most convincing way, which is truly the final 10% of animation. Is the vital last step for taking your short form good to great. In this you should also be checking all your arcs, trying to make every single moment perfect and smooth. After follow all the character animation process, blocking to polish, render animation. All informations are enough right now. I hope this video will be helpful for you. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.